Hey guys, it's Israel again with Heavy Metal Reptiles, and today we're going to talk about three of the ball python problem morphs. Unfortunately, the way the ball python industry has went to what they call designer snakes is kind of came with a price and some morphs. So we're going to kind of go over those. We've got like two that are kind of mild sometimes, depending on the severity of the situation, which normally from hatch they know kind of how bad it's going to be. And then we put like three of them in one, which are just really they aren't going to matter much to you unless you're breeding or looking to buy these, because you can sometimes come across them. So yeah, we're just going to jump right into the first morph. Okay, so the first morph we're going to talk about is the spider ball morph. This is our spider ball Black Widow. She's a sweetheart. But with spider balls, they actually are born with a neurological issue. And people will argue that not all of them are. But I will personally argue that they are all born with neurological issues. Just some are more severe than others. I don't know if she would really be considered a severe case or kind of like a moderate case, kind of what normally you're going to see with them. But if you know anything about the spider morphs, they have what's called a wobble. Now, you aren't going to be able to see it with her right now in my hands because I'm a caffeine fiend. So I drink a lot of caffeine and I'm always shaking. But what it is when she comes up and does what they call periscoping, her head will actually wobble, and it can wobble just when she's moving. It's just something that she does. She also does not understand up and down. So like when you hold a ball python with their head down, most of them will hold their head out and keep their head up and down. If I hold her like this, she just does weird things like that. And you know, most ball pythons will correct themselves to where they don't flip over themselves. I've personally already had trouble with her tying herself in a knot once. She's almost bit herself while eating. When she eats, it's low-key hilarious because she'll see the mouse and then strike like 3 times, missing the mouse, and then actually get the mouse. And it's just because she doesn't have targeting like she should. And these are definitely a snake. I mean, ball pythons, they say, aren't exactly for an expert level, but these guys are definitely something that you're going to want to get when you have a little bit more experience with care and training as far as ball pythons go, because they do sometimes require a little more. I mean, you get those ones and you never have a problem with them and they're the best eaters you've ever seen, but there are some too where you just kind of get that unlucky one that can cause a lot of issues and take up a lot of time. So we're going to go ahead and move into the next morph. Okay, so now we're going to talk about super cinnamons. And with super cinnamons, they have the wobble also. Believe it or not, while I was coming up with what I was going to do for this video, I was doing research and actually found a list of all the morphs that have issues, and you would be shocked. I didn't even know how many morphs actually have issues. So one thing I'm hoping you guys take away from this video is to make sure you do your research before buying any morph in general. But super cinnamons actually have the wobble too, and kind of have some of these neurological issues, or at least they've been seen, so they know that there's a problem within that morph too with the wobble. But that isn't the big thing that you're commonly always going to see. I don't think, at least. It's going to be more with them is going to be kinking. The super black pastels and a couple other morphs are also known for kinking, and these are something that you guys, as someone buying the animal, you should know what a kink is and be able to tell that there's a kink in the snake. But as far as this goes, the main people that's going to be looking for this is breeders when they hatch out if there's a kink. Unfortunately, a lot of your breeders, if these kinks are too apparent and can be seen, sometimes they're trying to get away with maybe selling them at a show to someone who doesn't know any better, if it's not too bad to where you don't look at the snake and go, wow, something's wrong with that guy. So unfortunately that does happen. But this is going to be more of a breeding thing. When they come out of the egg, you're going to see the kinks. The problem with kinks is it can cause feeding issues. So if you have a kink up here around their head and it's a big enough kink, they actually won't be able to eat their food. So that's an issue if you want your snake to eat. Some people say you can force feed them, but force feeding is really never the answer. That's the absolute last resort for anything, and with a kink it's really not going to help because it's just the way the spine on the snake is. So unfortunately that's just a reality. The other thing with super cinnamons is bug eyes. Now, there's not an immediate health issue with bug eyes from everything I've looked up and read. I don't personally own a super cinnamon or anything with bug eyes, so I couldn't tell you from experience, only from what I've read. You're going to see the main problem with them seems to be shedding. Now when your snake goes into shedding with a super cinnamon, because if it has bug eyes, there might be some eye cap problems with the eye caps coming off that can be solved, and it's not going to be a huge deal. Again, this is going to be something that a more experienced keeper is going to probably want to take on over top of a first-time snake buyer. Now, if you know what bug eyes look like at the reptile show or the pet store, you're going to be able to tell whether the animal has bug eyes or not. Come here, don't do that. And like I said, if it does have bug eyes, it's not going to kill the snake, at least as far as everything I've read. It's not going to cause a serious health issue that you're going to be hard-pressed to take care of. It's going to be that shedding issue. Like I said, if you keep ball pythons, you've dealt with stuck eye caps before, there's ways to handle it. So you should be able to tackle that pretty easy and actually be able to keep a really cool snake as long as bug eyes don't bug you. They're just a little out there. The last thing with these guys, there's duckbills. And again, I don't own a super cinnamon with a duckbill. I don't own any. I don't know. Baphomet's bill kind of looks ducky, but I don't think it's a duckbill. As far as I know, it is more of a genetic deformity with the snake that doesn't cause any serious issues. It's just something to be aware of. Everything I've read says that they're going to eat all right and things like that. But I guess anything that's a genetic deformity or a visual deformity can cause problems. As far as that goes, though, it's going to be an eating problem where you might have to feed smaller meals more often than a large meal less often. That would be the only thing I could really see, as long as the mouth is opening and it's able to control the as it eats. I don't see a problem with them. This again is just stuff that I've read. I don't personally have experience with a duck-billed or a duck-bill cinnamon, super cinnamon. So I'll go ahead and move on to the next morph. Okay, so the last morphs we're going to talk about is actually a champagne X spider, a pearl, and a super champagne. And we'll throw some pictures in here for you as we're talking. The first thing you need to be aware of is what each morph looks like. So these things, once they hatch out, they have a 99% chance of dying. We have so very few that are living past the first few months of being out of the egg. So that towards breeders, if you're looking to breed, that's something to be aware of if you decide you want to make a champagne, a super champagne, a pearl, anything like that. Know that the survival rates aren't very high. The other thing is you as a consumer, so because there aren't many of these snakes in circulation, they're going to be priced outrageously high. Luckily, spiders have a decent survival rating. So they're going to be a little more cheaper. I picked her up for 175, I think. And she's been a great snake. She really has been. She's one of the snakes I trust the most out of the whole collection. She's never actually confused me or gave me that defensive mode or anything like that. Probably because she couldn't bite me if she wanted to. But for these guys, it's just a little easier to find, so it's going to be a little cheaper. Your super champagnes, your champagne X spiders, and your pearls, they're a lot harder to find, and to find them alive is really, really, really hard. There are people out there breeding these, and there's other morphs that have issues that people are breeding, and starts the debate whether it's right or wrong. With these guys, I would say it's definitely wrong when you know that they just aren't going to live. You know, you got a 1 in, I can't remember, I think it's a 1 in 10 chance of survival with these things. So you as a consumer, when you're at the reptile show, you need to know what these guys look like. So if you walk into a reptile show and you see, we'll say, I don't know, what's one that doesn't look anything like it, like a Inchy. We'll say an Inchy, okay? You see an Inchy sitting there, or it says Inchy on the box, but it's a champagne. You as the consumer, if you don't know any better, you buy the Inchy. And the guy might have put Inchy on it to make sure he made his money, or some money off the snake, knowing that in the next month that snake could be dead. He was just able to keep it alive long enough to get it to the show, have it looking decently healthy for you to buy it. So it's a big thing for you guys to know what these things look like. And like I said, we'll put pictures of all 3 of the snakes in the video. But it's something that you guys definitely need to be aware of. And if you do come across these snakes and you pick one up and it lives, grows big and healthy, great. I mean, it's not that it's never going to happen. It's just unlikely. And if you do get one and you do get it up to breeding size, please don't breed them. Just don't. You can make, I'm pretty sure champagnes have a better survival rating, at least as far as I know. All snakes are gonna vary in survival rating. Obviously, the only thing you've got almost 100% survival on is a normal ball python. Everything else is genetics. When you start talking genetics, there's so much that can go wrong. There's so many genetics you can cross that can cause lethal consequences. So there is that to think about. But like I said, I don't know. I can't tell a breeder not to breed these things, but like I said, for you guys as the consumers, you need to know what you're looking at and what you're buying. For upcoming breeders, you need to know what you could be hatching out, because a dead snake's no profit at all if that's what you're doing it for. If you're doing it because you love it, you aren't going to want to breed them anyways because you don't want to see a dead snake. So we'll go ahead and move on to the outro. Okay, so I did misspeak. We double checked the percentages on super champagnes. There's a 99% chance that they're going to die within a few months of being hatched. So when I said you've got like a 1 in 10 chance of getting I was wrong. 9 out of 10 are going to die as far as super champagnes go. The other morphs, you're probably talking an even higher percentage, like a 99.5, because I was told, so don't quote me, and I didn't do my research on the cross morphs here, but I was told that Pearl actually has champagne in it. Or opposite, Pearl is used to make champagne. So you might have a little bit better of a survival rating with Pearl. But as far as like the champagne X spider, you're already talking, genetic issues here, and then you have the lethal with champagne. You're talking the survival ratings are almost virtually not there when it comes to champagne, especially when you're crossing with something that already has genetic neurological problems. So again, just be mindful. If you're breeding, don't be stupid. That's all I can really tell you. I mean, it's just not fair to these animals at that point. I don't even know if it's fair to breed these guys, but I have one. I bought one because I like them. but I also know how to take care of them, and I would say her quality of life is pretty good. So, but the usual outro, follow me on social media, everywhere. And I think my wife's going to try and put links to things in the description instead of me having to go through and say it and you guys try and read the ending. We'll just put links up so you guys can find them easier. But same thing with the rehoming and stuff. Like I said, we're actually shooting this on a Thursday now because work got called off after we shot last night. So we got called off again for tomorrow. So we should be getting that crusty tomorrow. Yeah, you guys have questions, feel free to message me, comment, whatever. I'll be happy to help you guys in any way I can, and see you guys in the next video.